it leads then into connecting with either someone of some amount of knowledge, whether that's a group X instructor, a personal trainer, a workout partner, something that keeps them involved and motivated. And then from there, it's, are they seeing results? Because at some point they're going to, they're going to say to themselves, hey, is this investment in time worth the benefit that I'm getting from it?
Yeah.
And there are a small percentage of people that are gonna say, you know what, having me feeling better and having more energy and being able to, do the things I want to do every day is worth the time investment. But there's going to be a larger percentage of people that are going to go, I've been trying to lose 10, 20, 30 pounds or more for, a month,
Yeah.
2 months, 6 months, a year. And at some point they're going to go, you know what, like, no matter what I do, even though I feel better, I'm not physically reaching my goal. I'm not physically getting where I need to be. And so, when we ultimately look at what has been a game changer for us by, integrating Optavia into our, fitness studio at ILF, we're having this connection with people where you're not only fostering community, but you're allowing people to see results rapidly, and then showing them how it's sustainable long term. And then that transfers into, I'm physically capable of doing more.
Yeah. They love exercise more. It feels really great. But I think going back to your point, like, because we've seen it for so many years, it's like that person knows that they're doing something. They're kind of taking that self-guilt. Like, okay, I'm going to class every day, but I'm not willing to give up my wine, or I'm not willing to give up my cheesecake, or my whatever it is, right? So they stay connected to the facility and they still continue to do workouts, but it's almost like they gave up on expecting to be rewarded for it, because they know that they're doing something that would, quote unquote, look like they shouldn't be doing it. Right.
Right.
So, and they don't have a solution for that. So I think where we go from an emotional, psychological standpoint is like, let's address what's really important to you and see how we can start to make movement in that direction. And instead of saying like it has to be an all or nothing, that you actually identify with the reason why you're not seeing the results, like truly identify, not because you're being a bad boy or a bad girl. It's
right.
Like, let's just like take a look at this and make some adjustments, and then you'll see what's possible. And it's like, okay, great, now I can do this. But they're okay with not getting results because they feel at least I'm doing something.
Right.
And it could be a whole lot worse. So just think where I would be if I wasn't at least doing this. And all we want to be able to do is say, well, what's important to you? Why do you want to do this? And if this is what you want, let's show you how to get it.
Right. And, and I think watching people often relate to the fact that they physically feel better, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're moving, right? Because let's be realistic. A majority of people, they sit for 50% more or of their day or more,
Yeah.
And so getting people in and moving is like that first step. But I think where, we ultimately run into people becoming frustrated. I can't tell you how many times as, a fitness professional, I've ran into an individual that comes to me and they're like, hey, I have this vacation in 30 to 45 days. Or
30 minutes. I got it in 30 minutes.
Or even worse, I got a vacation in 2 weeks,
right?
And I want to lose 50 pounds, or I want to see my abs, or I want to feel better in a bathing suit. And like most of the time we're like, okay, well, we probably should have started this process 6 months ago, right? Yeah. Where the reality of what we can do with Optavia, because people are getting a balanced level of nutrition, all of their micro and macronutrients, that we're allowing them to see quick results where it, depending on what they have to lose, they may get to that beach body, look that they want in that short period of time. But ultimately what we're doing is we're showing them that they can get to a point where they can be human and still enjoy life while having a sustainable program that allows them more freedom. And when they do want to really tighten things up, they can make it happen in 30 to 45 days.
Yeah.
Not have to be 6 months in front of in front of things.
They realize how powerful their actions can actually be, and that they're in the driver's seat. And there's two things that I always say about vacations and weddings and anniversaries or reunions, that kind of thing, is like, if you don't lose this weight by that date, are you canceling your vacation? Are you canceling your tickets? And generally people will be like, no. And I'll say, well, that goal isn't important enough to you then, because you're going on it whether you lose 5 pounds, 10 pounds, or 20 pounds. So we have to really fine tune the details a little bit more and find out what's truly important to you. And sure, you're putting this date and this deadline on there, which gives us a nice little target to shoot for, because if you can shoot for that target, then we can show you what's possible.
Right.
The other thing that I love too, that when somebody who does OptaVia with the coaching and the community, is they go on vacation and they realize that they're making smarter decisions than they ever would have made otherwise, even though it's not, we don't expect perfection at that point. But they get there and they're just like going, normally I would have been doing, but now I feel like I'm going parasailing. Normally I'd sit by the pool and just drink margaritas the whole day. But now I actually want to go hike. It's like, who am I right now? And that's a really cool lifestyle. How much more do you get out of your vacation when you have that type of energy and wanting to go out and explore?
Absolutely. I think the other thing that we've seen a lot of is people getting to their goals, and whether there's that intrinsic motivation through, I have an event, I have a vacation, I have, something that's motivating me in a way with a deadline. What they're finding is that it's something that ultimately, once they get to that place, they identify better with, like how living the lifestyle that maybe they were living previously made them feel, right? I can't tell you how often, somebody says to me, wow, I realized how much more I was eating than I really needed to be eating. Or I realized how undisciplined I was around frequency of eating, because I went from not eating all day long to eating these, huge meal at lunch and huge meal at dinner, all the things that play a role in people ultimately gaining, 10, 15, 20 pounds over the course of a year. And then having this expectation of being able to lose that in 30 days. Well, not in every scenario can we help somebody do that, but in a lot of cases we can help through OptaVia the ability to allow them to lose, 12 to, I have seen some people lose 20 pounds in 30 days. So, and then the sustainability from there. And then ultimately somebody seeing, okay, well, it's not just about eating fuelings and eating a lean and green, but how can we then like create, what would ultimately be, a transition maintenance program that's sustainable for life. And then from there, like you mentioned, the emotional, psychological side of things, where people start to realize, you know what, this isn't so much about my weight loss goal. It's about me feeling better and being able to do things that I was once not capable of doing.
Right.
I'll give you a prime example. I was having a conversation with a client today who was on Max yesterday, and there was a fire somewhere and they were underground and they had to walk up 20 flights of stairs. And she was like, oh my God, like 80% of those people almost died walking up 20 flights of stairs. And she's like, it was like nothing to me. I felt great.
That's awesome.
And so it was like this real life example of not only how losing, 20 pounds has made her feel better, but by being active and doing the things that she once wasn't able to do because her joints hurt and the inflammation, internal inflammation she had in her body or whatever that was wreaking havoc on her.
That's huge. Well, think about this. And hopefully it never comes to that, but to know that you have that confidence, like if you had to run away from danger, or if you had like a child who was in a swimming pool and having some danger in the swimming pool and you had to jump in, like most people would do that no matter what condition they're in, but that could make it an even bigger disaster for everybody. Right.
Right.
But to know that you might have that, like you would have that ability to carry somebody out of a ravine if you went for a hike and somebody sprained their ankle or something. Like we're preparing people not only physically to be able to do that, but emotionally and mentally through the classes and the workouts that they go through, which are challenging. But when it's all said and done, you go out and do something like yard work and you're like, this is like relaxing compared to what we typically do in class. And then just, we had an opportunity today to celebrate some people's awesome successes and just what we've seen through the last 30 days with some people. And the thing that I always remind people of is like, if your goal was to learn to do kipping pull-ups or to be able to do a workout with kipping pull-ups in it, for example, or pull-ups in general, the amount of time and programming it would take to train you to develop that much strength to do that with your current body versus dropping 5 or 10 pounds of body fat, and then being able to do pull-ups, like the strength is already there. We're just expecting you to do so much more with so much more versus dropping the unnecessary body weight. And then all of a sudden it's like you're running, like in the case of running around the building, you're running like what would it be, like a 70-second lap around the building.
Right.
Which, like didn't happen when they were 20 pounds heavier.
Yeah, it was
now all of a sudden it's like, whew, how many more do I have to do? This is awesome.
Totally.
And it just feels different. So you enjoy the experience of your workout so much more, and you're becoming such an efficient, exerciser,
right.
which, is again, is a celebration of what your body can do rather than a punishment or something like a chore.
Yeah. And, I think that something from a gym owner standpoint, that for me, that's been just like so eye-opening is that when you create the community behind people supporting each other in their success, in their challenges, and bringing them in to be able to have that open, authentic, real dialogue amongst each other, like we've done with these challenges.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff is it's like invaluable, we put a prize out for somebody to, have something that motivates them to go after. But ultimately, when you have, 10, 20, 30, 40 people that are taking part in a challenge, and at the end of the challenge, they're just happy that the people that won, but ultimately they're even happier about the discoveries they made about themselves, the help that they provided other people,
Mm-hmm.
It's that whole concept of why do we do things, and people either do things for themselves, they do things for others, or they do things for a cause, right?
Yeah.
And so, a lot of people have a tendency first and foremost to go, I need to do this for myself, right? And when they find the ability to do that at a level that they're actually growing as an individual, they then start to have more energy to be able to do things for other people, as well as whatever cause it is that they feel they need and want to be supportive of. And that, from a standpoint of retention, from a standpoint of volume of new people coming through our door, and then it being like-minded people, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the last person that walked into ILF and wasn't in line with like what we wanted to create as far as a culture went.
Yeah.
And if they were, they instantly understood that they didn't belong here, right? And
Yeah.
not that they're maybe necessarily a bad person. The fit wasn't great for them.
Yeah.
And that fit wasn't great for them because they're ultimately maybe unhappy in themselves.
Yeah.
Or they're really competitive against others.
That's it. I want to open that up a little bit because the environment, there's lots of fitness communities. There's lots of communities, group pages on Facebook and that kind of thing for all different kinds of people's interests. And when you say somebody comes in and they don't belong, it's a they're coming up with that decision on their own because they're realizing because it's not like I don't belong because this is a mean group of people who are trying to keep me down on the whiteboard and not wanting me to finish in the top 5. It's not a competitive thing, because now you would have to say, I don't belong because these people are really positive. They're encouraging each other. They're super nice. They would actually stop what they're doing in the middle of their workout to help me with my form or to help me, whatever. Like it's not like I don't belong because it's not the most awesome environment I've ever seen. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, that's a different feeling. It's like, and I would expect that, because I've been in communities where I feel like, okay, if it's kind of like that thing, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah, you need to find a new room.
You need to find a bigger room, right? You need to find, and it's like, so to be able to look at that and say, those are the people I want to become. And I don't belong right now, but my goal, the reason I do belong is because that's where I want to go.
Yeah.
So the only people who would deselect themselves would be people who say, I'm not ready yet because I'm in this spot and I have no desire at the moment to improve my life. And I don't know who would really say that. If they really understood what it is that is happening, what truly is happening in people's lives, they would be like, there's hope. And we've seen it over and over again. We're not going to name examples, but we've seen people's lives who came in and they're a little bit like, this is never going to work. I don't even like exercise. I don't like nutrition. I don't like this. I don't like my life and all this other stuff, and have literally turned into some of the most amazing people to hang out with. Raving fans, and they bring in referrals, and people notice because the transformation on the outside world is this kind of was my old grumpy neighbor, and now is somebody who is actually coming over and bringing the salad for the barbecue. It's like just a different kind of feeling.
Yeah. And it's that the concept of unhappy, unhealthy people attract unhealthy, unhappy people. And I think that looking at, not only for me, when we integrated Optavia into ILF, it's that their principles, their branding, their message was like in total alignment to what we wanted to create at ILF, right?
Yeah.
And that concept of in health and fitness and life, right? And I like I've mentioned before, in writing my book, I talk about your body being your first domino, right? Mm-hmm. And it's that ripple effect or domino effect of how it impacts your relationships, personally, professionally, spiritually, how it affects your income, how it affects your education and your ability to learn more, how it impacts your overall health, not just physically, but internally. Like, is your heart healthy? Are your lungs healthy? Is your blood levels where they need to be? Are your hormones in balance, or balanced, and all of those things, right? And so when we start to look at that, it does the same thing from a nutrition standpoint. Is it transfers from I want this physical goal, and that physical goal becomes way less important, and it becomes more about, okay, how's my mindset? And am I feeling, more positive and productive? Is that transferring into my ability to be a better dad, a better mom, a better coworker? Is that transferring into me being more productive, which ultimately is allowing me to earn a better income, and use my time more wisely? And just what that ultimately creates, this synergy of influence from I wanted to lose weight to transferring into really personal and professional development, right?
Yeah.
Of every individual.
No, and I remember when you were telling me about your book, I'm like going, this is the right fit for you, because this is going to just you're right, spot on with your philosophy. And I remember when I first became a trainer and I went through a lot of the NASM correctional exercise specialist type of stuff and that kind of thing and I remember walking through the mall here at Washington Square and seeing all the people with jacked up posture and jacked up walks and limps and that kind of thing, and thinking that muscle's imbalanced, that muscle needs strengthening, that one needs to be stretched, and seeing all of these different corrections that can happen. Now when we see people who are not at their ideal weight, I see there's an imbalance in their life. There's an imbalance in their job, their stress, their marriage, their something that needs to be addressed, that unfortunately just exercise by itself won't exactly cut everything. It won't fix everything. So with that being said, it's such a huge critical piece, but we have so many people in our field that are working out and are not where they want to be. And this is the eye opener, which is like, do you really think you can work out harder? Do you really think you can work out longer? Like, how's that working out for you?
Yeah.
Right? There's an imbalance going on. Now I see the overweightness, but you're doing all the things perfect from an exercise standpoint, which means, guess what? Exercise isn't your problem.
Right.
So if we want to correct the ultimate challenges in your life, then we have to address the elephant in the room. Really, we have to see where is the thing that needs to be addressed, and more exercise isn't going to be the solution. And I think that's what we found is some people have gone through the program and have said, thank goodness I don't have to do a second run every single night, because it was cutting into my family life.
Totally.
And we might not have even known that they were doing that above and beyond a 60-minute, 900 calorie burn class. It's like, are you kidding me? You're really doing additional running? And now they're like, oh, I can come in 4 days a week, crush my workout, still watch the body fat come off. And now I have time to actually go to my kids' soccer games.
Right.
You were missing soccer games so you could come work out? Well, yeah, I have 50 pounds to lose. It's like, no, wrong answer.
Totally.
You're going to regret that the rest of your life, because that family time and supporting your food or whatever is so important. So
yeah, you're never going to be able to relive that. So
yeah, so making better use of people's time is, I think, such a gift that we can give. And nobody, and I think, and maybe let's talk a little bit on misconceptions from a gym standpoint, because maybe people fear that from a gym owner is like, well, if I'm used to everybody coming in 6 days a week, I'm going to lose members if they only come in 3 days a week. Have you ever seen that ever?
No.
I've never seen it.
Yeah. I mean, like, ultimately what's happening is people are making better use of their time while they're here, and they're seeing better results with less effort, which, whether, for me, there was this period of time in my life where I spent 4 to 8 hours a week prepping food, measure, because that was my way of staying on track and staying where I needed to be. Right. And I was then also training 5 days a week, sometimes for an hour and a half a day. Right. And I've been able to cut that down, to 2 to 3, maybe 4 days a week, and almost eliminate my food prep time,
Yep.
So, and at the end of the day, whether you're an entrepreneur, you're a mom, you're a nurse, you're, whatever it is you do, right? Time we never get back, right? We're the oldest we'll ever be and the youngest we've ever been in this moment, and now it's gone, right?
Yeah.
And so, it's one of those things that's, it's an unrenewable resource. And so, when you can start to provide people not only more time, right, but more quality time, because they feel better, they're more alert, they're more focused, they're more driven, all of those things, you're doing something that, like, it's priceless. Like, there's really no, like, nominal amount of anything you could place on that at the end of the day. And watching that happen, like, over and over and over again, and it being, so replicatable from a standpoint of, not only do I watch people that aren't, like, fitness fanatics, be successful in being a health coach, right? Mm-hmm. And they're taking people that they connect with and helping them ultimately see that vision, and whether they work out or not, right?
Yep.
It's helping them develop those habits, behaviors, and routines. And at some point, I actually was having a conversation with a lady today. Some people start on the exercise side of things and then their nutrition gets better, and other people start on the nutritional side of things and wait until they feel like they're in a better state of health to start to exercise. And so, in order to be successful as a health coach, you don't have to be a gym owner. You don't have to be a, fitness expert. You just have to want to help people. And, at the end of the day, I love the fact that we have the community that we have, but I also see that, we could ultimately do this in any environment that you wanted to be in,
right,
that you wanted to make an impact and be positive in.
That's a huge point. Well, the thing that comes to my mind right away would be like the sponsorship program. Like once you get to, like once you actually bring on, like when you decide to pay it forward to other people, the level of accountability, because not only are you now kind of feel responsible for the people that you're helping, but you're diving into the materials more often. You stay current with it because your new clients are coming in, so you're constantly delivering the material. And with the support materials, it's not like how you would think of a personal training standpoint, which is like, here's how you do this, do this, do this, do this, and do this. And you're kind of like, you're making them do all this stuff as a over the top type of trainer to them, where now you're running side by side with somebody. And this is why it works from a sponsorship program, where they can come in and they can say, I'm now teaming up with you and I'm going to show you and help you with what I did, but you're going to learn, I'm your guide. You're going to learn the stuff on your own, because otherwise you're always going to kind of resent me as your train. When I want to do something bad, quote unquote bad, you're going to be thinking how I'm disappointing you. But the only person that matters is you. I'm disappointing myself by not making smarter decisions. My guide already told me, or guided me to where I needed to go. I'm just making a different choice right now, and it has nothing to do on them. It has everything to do with me.
Right.
So that's
and I think from an empowerment standpoint, right? When you think about the old cliche phrase of give a man a fish and they eat for a day versus teach a man to fish, they eat for a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what we do every day, with clients and with other health coaches that we're developing, and there's no limit to that, right? I mean, I see people that have been health coaches like yourself for 8-10 years, and people that have been health coaches for 1 or 2 years, and like people are helping individuals at every level.
Right.
And there's like layers and layers and layers of education. And it really, at the end of the day, I think the thing that people have to remember is that you're being given a business plan that allows you to be successful at whatever level you want to be successful at it. And the only thing you have to invest is time. And if you invest that time smartly in a way that's productive and it is impacting and influencing people in a positive way, you'll be successful. And whether you want that to be, a business that provides you $10,000 a year or $1 million a year, you can do exactly that.
That time thing is huge, because I think, especially from a trainer mentality, is if you wanted to help 5 people, you immediately think, I have to do 5 hours worth of work. And what's I think has been beautiful with the coaching program is because you are teaching people to find their own solutions and their answers through the support materials and the community. So you're leveraging the community as support, that you're not having to spend all of that time. Like it's a ongoing, was like almost like the force, right? People know you're there. There's a presence, but it's not on top of you all the time. Right. So it's still that self decision to do the things that are important for you.
Yeah.
So that is huge. I mean, what would you say? And here would be the other thing: if you actually divided the amount of income that you would make, and by the amount of success that you're having, and then multiply that with the time that you're spending, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're helping. I mean, it's like you're not doing a one-on-one session trading dollars for hours with minimal results for your client. So your time is sucked up, and results are not necessarily happening. And You're getting burned out because both of you are getting burned out because the results aren't quite. And there's some great trainers. I mean, I always had great results with my clients, but when I realized that I only had a few hours in the day to do that, what happens with if I wanted to give myself a raise?
Yeah.
Like, you run out of hours.
Yeah.
So this is like, how many people can you literally coach in between, like driving to work, going to a football practice or a baseball practice or a soccer practice, and just being on a phone call with somebody? That's what's so nice. And I want you to talk on this, Shawn, because this was big in the clubs that I've seen implement this, the relationship with your clients, the level of relationship and understanding of their goals by doing the wellness assessments and by truly understanding what they want to accomplish versus oh, hey, welcome to the club. Here's your membership key, or here's your membership or whatever. And
Yeah.
some clubs do a good job with the intake. They want to know what the person's goal is, but that's usually a sales tactic.
Yeah.
More so than actually to really get to know them. But now once you get to know why they really want to get healthy, whether it's to play with their grandkids or to go do a hike of, that's been on their bucket list for the last 50 years, whatever the case is. I mean, what's been your experience with learning the wellness assessment outside of the club?
Yeah.
More important than actually
Yeah.
doing an assessment in the club.
Yeah. I think the thing for us, for Tiffany and I, it's Tiffany's favorite thing to do now. Because, you find out things, people really open up when you're authentic and like you really start to understand why people want change, why they want to improve their life. And, it's that discovery phase of kind of understanding past, present, future. I used to ask people all the time in an environment at the gym, tell me when the last time you looked and felt the way you wanted to look and feel, and what's changed between now and the last time you looked and felt the way you wanted to look and feel, right?
Nice.
And then,
yeah.
and a lot of the time they'd look at you blankly, and I'd be like, so in my experience, I found a lot of people have never in their entire life looked and felt the way they wanted to feel, and maybe never been exactly where they wanted to be, and that's okay. And so if that's the case, like, just say that, because owning that and being open to acknowledging that will kind of set you free almost, right?
Yeah.
And so, when you're able to do that and you're able to provide people that authenticity in an environment where they're in the comfort of their own home, or while they're traveling in the morning to work or whatever that looks like, right? Whether it's that initial establishing of a relationship and a new client, in your ability to get that discovery and really figure out what ultimately you can do to best help them, or it's that continued relationship of figuring out maybe what discoveries, barriers, challenges people have. The line of communication is more real and authentic than I've ever seen it in any environment. And I would have considered myself a very, very, very successful, person in gym sales, right?
Absolutely.
Because I was relatable, right? And I was able to help people,
well, and trustworthy too. Right. I mean, that comes across. I mean, it's like you and I both growing up in the industry that we grew up in and how long we were there. We always had that barrier of our integrity and our care, like for people in our team, superseded everything else in spite of all the pressures that corporate would sometimes lay on us. Yeah. And that was, I mean, that's why to this day, we've got old staff members who would come back to work with us.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat, and we have members who are seeking us out because they remember when we were at a club across town, 15 years ago.
Right.
So I mean, that's a huge thing. So people already, like, they could sense your heart and that you wanted to help them and that they trusted that you were going to guide them in the right direction. I think if that's the type of gym owner or trainer that you are, that's going to come across. So sales in that case are always great. But what I think I'm hearing you say now is that we now have a program that like you can easily turn over to them and promise them the world, because if they do it, they're going to see these results. In a large health club, sometimes if I promised you could get in shape and gave you a membership card, and then that was the end of the relationship, man, I got no idea what you're going to be able to accomplish, and probably not very much.
Absolutely.
So without the support and without that, the rest of it is just not going to happen. You need somebody in your corner. You need that accountability, that friendship, that all that stuff, and a good program that's easy to follow.
Yeah. I mean, I always used to really kind of preface things around providing knowledge and education and motivation and accountability. And it's the same thing I do to this day. The difference is I'm able to do it in a way where we're connecting with people on a different level and we're actually getting through to them, right?
Yeah.
And at a level that they're staying engaged and staying involved, and they're getting, like I started out by saying, whether if they didn't either meet a personal trainer, meet a good workout partner, or meet a good group X instructor or group fitness instructor that like they were drawn to, 9 times out of 10, that's the person that was a member for 90 days, you know?
Right.
And then they quit, and then it was rinse and repeat, right? They went 3 to 6 months, and then they tried it again.
Yeah.
And it was that vicious cycle of, you know, of re-engaging those people, where what we're doing is we have this progressive path for someone, get them to their goal, transition them to maintenance, and then like set them up for success in life long term. And you know, that relationship continues for weeks and months and years.
Lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to talk specifically about that, but I have to go grab my props because I left them out. I was just reading them. So I'm going to go grab those. But that's what I want to talk about next is, and maybe you can just talk about this while I'm getting, because I don't want to edit this. I want to keep it pure. But the topic of like, I've heard trainers in the past that said, if I educate and train my clients on everything that they need to know, they will no longer have to be a client of mine, and I won't be able to pay my bills, make my quotas. I'll get fired because I'm not selling training packages, all this other stuff, which, by the way, I've never seen. I've never held back information or material from people, simply because the more I can educate, the more we can move into the next stage of their exercise routine, their nutrition routine, and their life, right? But talk a little bit about if you've heard that from trainers in the past, and how, I mean, you know that that's not the case. Like, offer them everything that you possibly can, because that's what we're here as service providers and educators. So
yeah,
I'm going to grab my books while you talk.
Yeah, so I think the two things that you have to really look at with that, and one of it's kind of bringing it back to what Casey was saying earlier. You know, you only have so many hours in a day, right? And whether you're a personal trainer, you're a hairdresser, you know, you're an accountant, whatever that looks like, you're limited by a lot of the time, like one-on-one interaction with an individual, right? And so I do believe that, you know, that there are people that almost, you know, a lot of trainers are viewed as therapists, right? And so whether they're helping somebody see results or not, they develop such a good relationship with somebody. But there's, you know, that 3% of people that will continue to train with that individual for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they have the disposable income to do it, because that person, they really like being around that person, and they bring value to them at some level or another. But I've never met a like trainer in my life that was really, really, really true to being a trainer and helping people that didn't do that while also wanting that person to see phenomenal results, right? Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, I wouldn't feel good in myself if somebody came to me wanting to lose 100 pounds and I didn't help them lose 100 pounds in a year. Yes.
Right. They came in, they said, this is my goal. This is my goal. Here's what I want to do. And then, yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yes, the client has to be responsible for themselves, but at the same time, as a professional, you should be providing them information that helps them navigate through the other 23 hours a day, 7 days a week that they're not with you. Because the reality of it is they're probably with you 3 to 4 days a week for an hour, right? And so the thing that like I love about health coaching is that a lot of it's done through text and through, you know, Zoom calls or FaceTime. And so it allows us anytime we want to connect with people wherever we are. You know, and like I was talking to Tiffany yesterday, we want to go on a motorcycle ride tomorrow, but we have some check-ins, and I'm like, as long as we got cell phone service and we can stop wherever we need to stop, we can check in with XYZ, whoever we need to, while we're out doing what we love to do. Right. And I was going to mention this actually, when you were talking about, you know, trading money for time or time for money. And you know, you mentioned like you only have, let's say a really successful trainer. I've watched trainers that work, you know, 10 and 13 hour days, and they make a great income, right? Mm-hmm. But they typically burn themselves out at some point. They're always afraid to take time off, and they're afraid to allow somebody else to train their client, you know, all of those types of things. And so, you know, one of the reasons that when I left big box gyms and opened ILF, that I focused on group fitness and group, you know, small group exercise, is that you're building a community that supports each other. and you can help 20, 30, 40 people at a time versus helping one person at a time.
Yeah.
And that relationship that you create is created at a level that's way different than that one-on-one interaction for an hour. And it fits the mold for a larger percentage of people financially, right? Yeah. Well, when we look at health coaching, it's really the same thing, in that you're getting that individual involved in a community that sees people that are being successful, and their sharing of information and their connection and camaraderie towards each other fosters them staying involved, and you ultimately being able to help more people, right?
Yeah.
Because they're going to then, refer their friend or family member that can't come to ILF because they live in Montana,
Yep.
And so what happens is you're in this situation where you really aren't so limited by, there's only 10 hours in a day that you can put into work. And then, as you grow your business and as you grow, your influence, you're able to be a lot more thoughtful with your personal time and go, okay, I have this amount of time in a day that I'm providing coaching and doing these things, and this time's blocked out for, time with my daughter and time with my wife and time for myself. Where, unfortunately, most people in a either one-on-one personal training business or the gym business or multiple other businesses in the world, whether you're, like I said, a hairdresser or you're an accountant or an attorney or whatever, where you're bound by X time to X time and you don't have that freedom. So,
man, I want to hit 3 points, and I know that we could literally have a week-long seminar on all topics that we're talking about. But the first thing is training, coaching anywhere. Okay, so and so again, it's like, if you grew your business, your coaching business, large enough to where you could literally travel, like let's say you went to Maui for the week, your personal training business would stop at that time. The dollar per hour thing would stop. If you're a club owner, you've got constant stress about who's running the classes, who's opening the building, who's doing all this other stuff. When you have a coaching business, you literally, that continues. So when your coaching business is as big or bigger than your other business, then it's like, let's vacation, because there's no real stress there. I can support all of my clients without a miss of a beat. And some people are like, well, gosh, they work so hard that they want to completely get away from everything on their weekends. So some people might be saying, well, that doesn't sound that freeing to me, because it doesn't sound like you have any free time. It's like, no, literally, when you have this dialed in, you do 30 minutes, 60 minutes of support calls, and then you have 23 hours in Maui for the rest of the day to do whatever you want. Otherwise, you're going to be on vacation. You're going to be stressing for 23 hours and have 1 hour of relaxation, probably after you pass out from over drinking, because you're trying to forget everything, right? So, I mean, it's like, that's a scary thing. So you have that freedom. You can do that anywhere. Not to mention that if you visit with somebody in Austin, in an Uber or something like that, they could become your next client.
Yeah.
Like, they, as a fitness owner, you wouldn't be like, hey, you should come work out sometime. I'm in Portland. When are you driving through Portland? Well, never. I live in Austin. Okay. Right. I can't help you. Good luck with your life, right?
Right.
Where you actually could help that person on the spot with health coaching. So that's a huge thing. The other thing is, going back to your discussion on trainers training those people for a long time without any goal, without any accomplished goals, right? My experience on that has been that they haven't been properly equipped or confident enough to have those hard conversations about the reasons why they're not seeing their goals achieved. And they don't have those hard conversations because that person might be paying $90 a session, 3 days a week. And in the overall scheme of things, that might be 1/3 of their income. And if they have a hard conversation and upset that person, they may not show up for their next appointments. They might cancel. They might decide they want another trainer who's going to let them slide on some of the most important things that would allow them to get to their goals. And they're fearful that if they don't sell training packages, they're going to lose their job. If they don't keep that client happy, they're not going to be able to pay their rent or their mortgage or their cell phone bill. And that's a real fear for people. So rather than me telling you, Shawn, you're drinking a 6-pack a day, just forget about the alcohol. The calories are too much for you to accomplish your goals. And then as a result, you also do a cheeseburger or a pizza on top of it. We're never going to be able to achieve your six-pack abs by summer if we keep that up. And if you're not in a good spot and a good confidence level to be able to do that and get that across, like in the best way possible, that person's like, I don't need this crap.
Yeah.
You sound like my significant other or whatever. Like, I don't want to hear this from my trainer, and they may decide not to continue on. And then now you have a void in your schedule, you have a void in your paycheck, you have a void in your ability to accomplish goals so that you have worth and value at the club, unfortunately. And that's a dangerous spot to be in. So therefore they just avoid that. And they just say, hey, I'm adult babysitting today. We're going to have a fun workout. You're going to continue to be 30 pounds overweight for the rest of your life, but we're going to talk Seahawks football, and we're going to talk Blazer basketball, and we're going to have fun, and you're going to like me. You're going to send me a Christmas card. Unfortunately, you're not going to get off medications, and you'll probably never accomplish your goal weight.
Yeah. And the awesome thing about being a health coach is you still do all those things, but you help people see results long term.
Yes.
I mean,
so lastly, I want to just nail this home because the new life book, okay, these are the support materials, and going back into helping somebody learn how to fish, and then being able to give all of the information that anybody would ever need to know to be successful on their own is in here. Like, you literally walk through your life journey, making goals and learning how to deal with the emotional stuff, and then learning the science of why it works. So you have everything. So the cool thing is that you just basically have to reach out and say, this is what I want, and this is what I'm going to put into play. So there's no more like, I'm going to blame the workout wasn't hard enough. We didn't do enough glutes in this workout for me to get my butt in the right shape. There's no blaming of anything. It's just like, I've got everything I need to know right here. My coach is here to support me and encourage me. My tribe and my community is here to just inspire me and show me what's possible. And I'm just going to run my game plan and enjoy it the entire time and see what my body and my mind is capable of doing when it's all said and done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's, like it's story after story after story. Today's the last day of our current 45-day challenge. And, we had 30 people, just under 30 people do the challenge. And not one person hasn't taken away something that they've said, this is like valuable to me, and, our last challenge, for example, we had 16 people do program, or 16 people do the challenge, 10 of which did Optavia, did program, and lost collectively almost 190 pounds. So averaged 19 pounds each. And granted, there were people that only needed to lose 8 or 10 pounds, and they lost 8 or 10 pounds. And then there were the people that needed to lose 25 and lost 25.
Right.
And, I think that one of the things that has been really eye-opening for me, not only from a personal standpoint, but from a business standpoint, and just helping members the way they need to be helped, is that those people in your gym that come to the gym and put the effort in, and they work out 4, 5, 6 days a week, and they don't physically look or perform the way they want to perform, it's a very small change that you can provide them, and it will completely 180 the direction they're heading in, and allow them to go, oh my God, like, why didn't I figure this out sooner?
Right.
And with that being said, so that 10 people, 190 pounds, that other group of 6 people lost about 40 pounds in the same amount of time, following a traditional make your own food, prep your own food, macro program, right? That was designed for weight loss, right? And, coaching people for 15 years on different styles of nutrition, usually in most scenarios, you have the 1%. 1 out of every 10 that actually gets it and puts the effort in and is willing to do it long term.
Yep.
And And in a lot of cases, those people waver back and forth because of the time commitment and the difficulty of staying on track that way.
Yeah.
And so, you know, now knowing what I know and experiencing what I experienced, you know, and I know some people know this, but, you know, in January or in September when we left our previous space and moved into this larger space, and I took on more classes and knew that, you know, I was going to have less time to be focused on my exercise and stuff like that. You know, my workouts were cut to twice a week. And I went full on 5-1 and dropped from 15% to 8.5%. And I've been maintaining 8.5 to 10% since February with ease. And I feel great. I mean, God, your workout on Thursday, like an hour of, I had 150 meps in the red and like 40 meps in the yellow and burned over 1,000 calories.
Yeah, you killed it.
Yeah. So, you know, for those people out there that say, hey, you can't train on a program like this, you can't, you know, do the things you love to do. I'm here to tell you that I'm watching very physically fit people that just, they had excess body fat that they needed to lose, that they wanted to, you know, perform better, appear better, and they're doing it. And it's, you know, like a couple of our coaches have said, if I could just take this and just bottle it up and hand it to everybody, I would. And once people experience that, from the results side to the emotional, psychological side, to the shift in mindset, to propelling your lifestyle, people understand why we speak with such conviction around why Optavia is a game changer in a gym atmosphere or just in life.
Yeah. Well, I think that going back into the food prep thing is like, eventually, like, you learn how to do that if that's the choice that you make later on. What I found is it's easier to learn how to do food prep and to do some of those major decisions that way when you're 50 pounds lighter and that's your goal weight than it is when you're at, like, I still have 50 pounds to go. It's like the perfect bridge to be able to have this aha awakening in what it looks like to have this relationship with food and have these results that keep you motivated and inspired. And then you're like, okay, what does it look like for me to actually prep 2 or 3 meals in a day?
Yeah.
Well, you have the training wheels, and the Lean and Green is the training wheels on how to learn how to cook healthier and take some time to enjoy your meal and that kind of thing. So you're learning how to do that. If we just ask you to prepare 5 Lean and Greens right off the bat, and that's how you're going to be successful, and you've never done the grocery shopping, the preparation, the cooking, the packaging, and all that stuff, and taking it with you to work, man, it is hard to do. But I will gladly do that if I'm like have a 6-pack and it's like I know that that's what's going to continue my progress. It's like I'll do it then. But if I can't see any results, I'm like, man, I'm not doing this another day. Like, holy.
And I think the thing that, I mean, you bring up such a good topic with that, or such a good point. I think the thing that's really, really important to remember with that is that we're coaching and developing people to do just that. You know, people, they get into this mindset of, oh, we're eating packaged processed food. Well, how much packaged processed food do you eat every day from New Seasons or Whole Foods, right?
Yeah.
And so we're giving you packaged food that is nutrient rich, that provides you the perfect breakdown of carb, fat, protein, all your minerals, all your vitamins, you know, everything that your body needs, while teaching you how to also make healthier, lean and green, dinner, lunch, breakfast, portion control, all the things that like you don't learn overnight, you know? And like you said, I can't take you from doing no food prep and not understanding how to weigh, measure, and balance all your food to doing it 5 and 6 meals a day. And so this is a progressive way of helping somebody to do that. And then ultimately, like a program that people see very rapid results, that's sustainable long-term, because they're always going to have our support, right? They're always going to have, whether they're doing program or not, they have us as their health coach, right? And we're continually fostering that relationship and helping that person be the best version of themselves.
It's huge. It's absolutely huge. So yeah, I mean that. Well, and the thing is, everybody's a skeptic. I was a skeptic when I got started. I'm sure you were too. And the thing is like you will probably, anybody who's listening to this, you will probably be a skeptic as well. So the only way to get over that skepticism is to just do it. Like
Yeah.
honestly, like prove us wrong. Please try and prove us wrong on
Yeah.
this, because we've seen it hundreds and hundreds of people over and again, thousands and thousands of people at this point. For us, we've been doing this for 10 years. I mean, seriously, take the 30-day challenge. Just do it. Not that it's I mean, it's not a challenge. We don't really have an official challenge like some some of those companies do, but this is like, man, just do it and tell us we're wrong. Tell us we're
Yeah.
wrong.
I mean, the biggest, and I've told you this, the biggest mistake I made was I watched my wife do program and be very successful at it. And I did like a variation of it. And I waited, 8 months to do it full on. And once I did it full on, it completely changed my mindset. And my mindset, I was skeptical to, can people that exercise at the intensity and rate that I exercise at do a program like this? And I'm here to tell you that you absolutely can. And you're going to feel way better than you felt doing it any other way you were doing it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, try doing that same workout on Krispy Kremes and pizza. You're not going to feel very good.
Right.
I mean, you feel so much better doing it.
Well, or even you are eating whole food meals, but your meal is 200, or your carb intake for the day is 250 to 350 carbs, and you're eating 1,000 more calories than you need to be eating a day, right?
Yep.
You're not going to sleep good. You're not going to feel good. You're going to feel bogged down. You're going to feel fuzzy. You're going to not be clear. All of the reverse things of what you experience.
I love when we say it, because we're always on the same page with this. But when we hear somebody say, "Well, I got to eat before my workout," so you're gonna fuel 400 calories worth of food to fuel your workout. That for some people, they might only burn, like if it's a traditional workout, maybe 300 calories, maybe 350. Luckily for us, they burn 500, 600, or 1,000 if they're guys. But they want to fuel for their workout that was less than what they fueled, and then they want to replenish their calories that they ate with more calories than they burned. That's already like a surplus.
Yeah.
But in their mind, and that's kind of what the sports world has trained people to do. But guess what? Everybody is like, you're not training life for sports anymore. It's like you're training for health, you're training for body fat reduction, for, getting some of those benefits out of that. So it's like, man, like if you want to create a calorie deficit and create health in your life, this is the way that will teach you how to do that.
Yeah. And then, I mean, we even have clients that are still doing half marathons and high intensity workouts and, various things. And they're either following a performance version of program, or they're following a straight 5-in-1, and they feel better than they've ever felt before.
Yep.
And they were disbelievers in the beginning. So
that's
again,
why I said,
like you said, try it.
Yep. Awesome, Shawn. Well, hey, thanks for spending some time and just talking to fellow health people. I mean, this is going to benefit everybody, but I know especially our community, our fitness world out there. So many people have these questions, and I mean, I'm telling you what, guys, this is a real deal. It's like you've got Shawn, who's been an industry leader in what he's done and what he's doing now, branching out on his own. I mean, let's just ask around in the fitness world of people who know Shawn or know me throughout the lifetime of fitness that we've been in. And tell you what, guys, we've been true to taking care of our members, taking care of our team for the whole entire time. And that's why this is just an extension of what we're able to do and get it out there to the entire world, because now we're not limited to a club or a company. We can actually do this worldwide now, and actually worldwide, and obviously in the entire United States. So if you have questions, guys, reach out to us. I mean, we want to inspire other health clubs to be able to do this, because your members deserve this type of success and progress, and success too. And you do, if you truly have like that fitness desire to help people, then you have to bring this onto your program, because it's such a game changer. I mean, literally will make your life easier. It'll make your clients' life easier. And that's a win-win, because so many fitness people are struggling in either burnout or financially keeping their doors open. And you offer great stuff You just have to be able to spread it to enough people who can actually do the stuff that you want them to do. And this program bridges that gap.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like I say often in class, you know, be more, give more, have more, right? Be the best you can be. Give the most you can of yourself. And ultimately that's going to make full circle, and it's going to provide you, you know, a healthy, harmonious lifestyle.
I love it. Awesome, man. Well, have a good rest of the day, and hope we'll do a lot more of these. I think people are going to be asking for more information on what it is that's changing lives and people left and right.
Absolutely. It's awesome to work beside you. Thanks, Case.
Hey, iron sharpens iron. I appreciate you. All right, brother.
All right, man.
Have a great day.
You too.